What's up guys, Americana back here with another video. Today we're going to be talking about everybody who says this cycle is different. This cycle's different, bro. Institutions here, bro. The data is saying otherwise, alright? If you don't know how to separate the narrative from the structure, you're going to bag hold. But if you study this fractal, you'll know exactly what's coming next before the rug gets pulled on this entire market. So just a real quick introduction, but without further ado, let's get into the video. This one's going to be rather short and sweet, but at the end of the day, in my opinion, this is not data that can be ignored. So what I did here is I just took the two previous cycle fractals from the bear market bottom to the bull market peak, and from the bear market bottom to the bull market peak. As you can see here, when I line it up with our bear market bottom this cycle, you can see they both generally topped in the same area. And where does that get us for this cycle? Well, that's October and that is November. So the same kind of area that we've been talking about, right? This is very straightforward data that I think, without a shadow of doubt, puts us in this area to top out at. I have another video on this year historically being a year that we would top out in for other reasons, right? There's a couple different other reasons that I'm looking at, but even if we just take the most basic data point we have, how long did these cycles last? How long did these cycles last? You can see, obviously, we get a top in this area. I do want to point out what that means for your altcoins. I've made the claim over and over again, the final phases of the Bitcoin cycle, right? The final phases in Bitcoin are actually most bullish. For altcoins, obviously, I'm standing by that. I think that's going to hold true. We've yet to see the altcoin rally that I know is coming down the line. With the frame of mind that this could all be over by October and November, you know, this is August 3rd today. This is going to move quick, so you need to be prepared. You've seen me, I've been posting about exit plans and exit strategies and things like that. You need to be prepared for these things, guys. On the chart here, I have Dogecoin only because that's the only coin I have that goes back this far. But you can see in these final phases of Bitcoin is where we were really getting this rally kicked off, right? This is log scale, so it doesn't look like too much, but these are the most explosive points actually in the rally. Same thing here. Okay, altcoins, most of them actually topped out in here. Obviously, I don't think Bitcoin has the time to go do this double top formation, so I expect this kind of to be our version of altcoin mania this cycle. But regardless, you know, altcoins topping in the final phases of Bitcoin here as well. There's plenty of other data that I'm looking at, but just to say, or just to look at, hey, how long could we have left in the cycle and what does that mean for whatever coins we hold, right? We don't have much longer left. The cycle is not different. It's not going to go on forever. Bitcoin is not going to go to $1 million. Once altcoins start ripping and popping off, people are going to make crazy claims about altcoins, Ethereum to 32,000 or something insane. Just stay based, guys. Have a plan. Know that this is expected moving forward, and start putting together your sell and exit strategies right now. Okay. Again, historically, the best point in time to be in altcoins is the final phases of Bitcoin. When it comes to the altcoin market, other reasons why I can kind of make these claims is Ethereum. Okay. Ethereum is making a push to new all-time highs right now. We actually just closed our monthly candle just above this. And yes, we are kind of wicking down right now. But like I said, it's the beginning of the month. Typically, that's where you're going to see some sort of like manipulation style candle. But I would not be surprised if this month closed, you know, at or slightly above even all-time highs on Ethereum. Which again, if you notice from my other videos, historically bullish for all altcoins. Okay. You want Ethereum taking off. You want Bitcoin in its final phases. You want to see all the things that we're seeing right now to be in altcoins. It's been a long 3 to 4 years for these altcoin holders, right? I've held altcoins this long, you know, some Ethereum, Solana, XRP, right? I'm ready to get out of the altcoin market as well. It's volatile, it's craziness, but I do really truly believe that this could be wrapping up very, very, very soon. So please keep watching these videos. Check out my other videos when it comes to like sell strategies and things like that. This thing could be ending very shortly. In addition to that, okay, so we talked about Ethereum's monthly candle closing just above a certain level that was key and kind of giving us a back test. we did something very, very, very similar on Bitcoin dominance as well, right? Closed through a key, what would have been support level, closed the monthly candle underneath it, right? And now putting in some sort of back test on this recent Bitcoin dip. I expect this thing to continue to hold, at least on the monthly scale. We might be putting in some sort of back test currently, okay? But I think on the monthly time frame, you'll see this thing continue to bleed out. Right here, weren't able to accept above it, okay? Something we'll monitor, not the end all be all. If we even for 2 weeks of August, if we come up in these levels, right, I think there will be some sort of massive reversal leading to this just being kind of a wick up here, right? And then when we look back at the month of August, right, you see Bitcoin dominance is like the body of the candle closes down here with maybe a higher wick. But all of this too is happening from, right, an area in 2017, which that was the final massive altcoin rally in 2017 and 18 from this area. Massive altcoin rally of 2021 from this area. And we got back into it, and now we're starting to roll over, except below it. Okay, I don't think this is going to go as low as people think or want. I don't know if people think it's going to make a new low. I actually don't really care where it goes. Okay, I have other, coin by coin target or price targets and things that I'm looking at in a broader market scale. I simply am looking at Bitcoin from the stance of or Bitcoin dominance from the stance of I want to see this thing rolling over, continue to roll over, but not too worried about it right now after we got that monthly close below. Okay, if you see my other videos where I talk about Solana priced in Ethereum, we got a very similar monthly candle to this, in which I was very, very, very confident in calling out the top in that chart. And even though we've chopped around here, we've seen it continue lower. So expecting similar things, right? These candles, it's a monthly candle, so it takes time to form, but expecting some downside on Bitcoin dominance as well, which ties into everything else that we talked about. And again, just to wrap things up, we are looking at the final phases of Bitcoin. Okay, we took the bear market lows to bull market highs of the last 2 cycles. We slapped it on here. Where does that get us? November, October. All right. Your plan doesn't have to be complicated, guys. So many people just drastically overcomplicate this market. Okay, any of you guys could have thought of doing this. Okay, this isn't some complicated technical analysis or anything crazy. You just simply want to understand in this market where you could be at in a general sense. Okay, and generally speaking, I would say even more than generally speaking, okay, we are not only in the final phases of Bitcoin, but we are in the phase where we see altcoins go absolutely insane. Okay, massive retail, I'll call it adoption, but really just retail flooding back into the market, right? And these things, as you guys know, mark the tops. Okay, so please, please, please be prepared, and don't listen to anybody who says this cycle is going to extend or there's no alt season or things like that. It's just not the case. I don't know how to explain it other than every single cycle people come up with some sort of reason why this cycle is different. These altcoins bleed and bleed and bleed and move sideways and don't do anything until the last 2 months of Bitcoin's move, and then it takes everything back and some at once, and people don't have a plan to get out of it because that's not what they expected. It's what it's like every single time. You have to expect that it's going to be somewhat similar and everything's going to catch up at once, but at the same time you also have to be prepared, because these people who are saying the cycle is going to extend and no altcoin rally, right, they don't have conviction in anything. They flip-flop from whatever thing to the next thing, and they don't, even when the time comes that altcoins do absolutely rip, they're going to have some other thesis that screws them over and they don't end up selling. So please don't listen to anybody like that. Use very basic analysis, try to find out where you could be within the cycle, right? Understand that they take years to play out, but we're coming into the final phases of what I think this cycle will be, right? Not much left in Bitcoin, a ton left in altcoins, but I think that's really it. That's kind of the point I wanted to get across. So let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Pretty straightforward analysis of what I'm seeing, what I'm expecting, where I think this market could go. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, make sure you check out my other videos. I also have some free PDFs for you guys to download if you want some, kind of things to refer back to on how I think about the market, how I allocate in each phase through the market. Just check it out. There's like 3 or 4 things in there that kind of give away for free when it comes to how I operate at the macro level in this market. But I appreciate all the support. I appreciate you guys. Continue to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know if you think it's useful, if you think it's silly, if you yourself think this cycle is different. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.